Hi, I'm David Mendel, the Valid Premier Team at my home group, and this is
Brogan McGuire with Caliber Home Loans.
So we're talking today about getting into a new business, and I wanted to talk with Brogan and have him share with me and with you about his experiences becoming a loan officer, getting into lending. So without further ado, why did you do it? Why did you get into lending?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons where people, why people get into lending. It's one of those industries that nobody when they're growing up, dreams of becoming a loan officer.
I wanted to be a dentist.
I wanted to be an architect or a pilot. So, the fact that I ended up in finance, it just goes to show that this is one of those industries where you just kind of fall into it when the opportunity is in front of you. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to meet a great mentor of mine and my now boss, Stacy Gross, who kind of showed me the ropes and talked me through, if I wanted to do this or not. And the main reason I ended up getting into it was, I was young when the Great Recession happened back in 2008, but my entire family was in real estate at the time. And I'll never forget how just crushing that was to not only us and our family, but a lot of families in this country.
Sure.
Granted, a lot of families had it a lot harder than even we did through that time. And I just remember hearing about how it was all about lending and bad mortgage practices and just all this fraud essentially that was going on in the industry because just greedy people. And I just remember thinking, man, that was so horrible that a relatively small group of individuals in this country could have had such a big impact and had destroyed so many people's lives. And then as I got older and I thought more about it, I thought, well, the inverse could be true as well. If that small amount of people could have such a negative impact, then they could also have a positive impact. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the first thought that I had a few years back about, maybe that would be, maybe real estate is something I want to go into long term. But I hadn't pinpointed lending exactly. And in the end, when I met with Stacy and the opportunity was in front of me, it really kind of all clicked and came together that this is how I can help as many people as possible, through the biggest purchase of their lives, where they're uncertain and fearful and they need someone to turn to for answers. And I really enjoy being that person. I love providing and educating people, especially on the process, because it's something I'm extremely passionate about. And that's the main reason why I do what I do.
Okay, so it sounds like you're in this to make a big change, not only in the industry, but in the lives of the people who you can directly affect.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what was the most difficult part about getting into it, beyond the decision itself?
Sure.
What was the most difficult part, practically speaking, about getting into the business?
There's a lot of things. I jumped in at what was in some ways the best time and also in some ways the worst time. I've been licensed for just about a year now, and in that time we've seen the lowest interest rates ever on record, which has been fantastic for the business. But on the flip side of that,
great time to own.
Great time to own, exactly. But on the flip side, we work with buyers. That's all we do as lenders. So being in this market, especially here in Phoenix, where it's been such a heavy seller's advantage, it's kind of pushed me to be better faster than I think I would have in a standard 50-50 market, which I'm grateful for. But I really had to push into this really interesting market where you have to be really creative on things, and I think
responsive,
yeah. You have to be on top of it. I like to be busy, so that wasn't a huge challenge for me in that sense, where having to be super quick on Johnny on the spot, but just learning the whole lending language and absorbing all the guidelines and the rules you have to play by, and then applying all that to this market. I think that's been probably the most difficult thing I've had to tackle. And again, I really enjoy that. The creative problem solving skills that this market has created is it's fun. It's unconventional compared to the way that we may have used to do things 2, 3, 4 years ago. But I think it really kind of separates the pack a bit right now as far as who can really get things done and who can't.
So a challenge, but a benefit at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you want to learn how to swim. Your grandpa throws you in the deep end with no floaties. You're going to figure it out or you're not. So and that's kind of how I look at it. Is I either had to decide that I was just going to figure it out and make it happen, or it wasn't going to work, and I figured it out. Luckily.
Very cool. So what are your long-term goals as a loan officer? What are your long-term goals for the industry, for your own business? Tell us about that.
I think it's hard to say kind of where we're going to be in 5, 10 years as an industry, just because everything shifted so much, through the pandemic, and we're seeing kind of a new age, if you will, in the way that business is practiced, real estate operates. There's a lot that we're still not 100% certain on what the path forward looks like.
And to add to that, in an unrelated matter, we're starting to see a shift in the local Phoenix market in real estate. We're starting just the beginning to see a shift, a little bit more inventory, a little, people have a little more time than 37 seconds before they have to make a decision to make an offer. And it's still competitive, and it's still an incredible market and a wonderful opportunity, both for buyers and sellers, but we're starting to see a little bit of a shift. So we'll probably do a show on that another time. So back to you.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to give a little updated market update, especially on what's going on here in the Valley. But moving forward, I think the biggest thing for me is, obviously I want to help as many families as possible. I think that's my number one goal overall, obviously, is to just help as many people as I can. Taking it to a bigger picture, I love being a loan officer. I really do. I truly, thoroughly enjoy this. I don't think of it as a job. But long term, I would really like to transition into more of a educational role. And I'm not 100% sure what that puzzle piece looks like yet and where it's going to fit. But I would love to be able to just have, be someone for people to lean on all day, where I can make myself available 100% of the time just to, be an advisor, be a consultant, help them through the process. So again, I'm not sure exactly where that's going to lead me and kind of what that is yet, but that's where my mind's at 5, 10 years down the line from now of what I really want to be doing.
Maybe a team. Maybe you lead a team that is focused on exceptional service, that is focused on education, that is focused on bringing the best to the best, our clients, and at the same time, it frees you up to educate, to do classes, to do one-on-ones with potential buyers, with people who are considering refinancing their existing homes, things like that. Maybe something like that in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So what advice would you give anyone who's considering getting into the loan industry?
Be prepared for hard work. It's one of those industries where people hop in and hop out in 15 seconds. It's a fairly high attrition, like anything in real estate is.
Real estate.
Or sales in general, I guess you could say. There's people get in thinking it's you can get rich quick, and it's just not that business. And if that's your motivation, you're in the wrong field.
Very true.
But if you do have your why of, a strong why, whether it's helping people, whatever it may be based on your background, your life, and your situation, if you have that and you're ready to stick to that and use that to fuel your fire, everything else will come. It just takes time. I always tell people, getting into lending, it's really like learning a second language, because it's by the time you've gotten through all the knowledge absorption that you need to do, you know terms and phrases and words that 95% of the public doesn't understand. So you really are kind of learning another dialect, if you will. So just be prepared to be really detail oriented, Time management is your friend in this business. That's the only way you're going to get your real work done.
If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I live off my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it's not going to get done. So just be prepared to hammer down, work hard. But once you get through that initial grind of just trying to get your business built up, and you get in your flow a little bit, things really start to go swimmingly, and that's when you can really focus on, for me, just being there to help people. Swimmingly.
All right, so to recap, Brogan, like you were saying, for anyone getting into the business, understand your why. And whether that's lending, whether that's real estate, or whether you're thinking about starting any business, understand why you want to do what you want to do. Allow that to be your driving force. Have a plan. Have a detailed written plan about what it is that you want to accomplish and by when. You've got to have a timeline on that. And then push. Don't be afraid to obsess over something for a time. It doesn't mean to be obsessive about everything. That's really unhealthy. But obsess over what's really important for a time. Dig in. If it's meaningful to you, it's worth doing, and it's worth doing well. So if you have any questions around this, around lending, around real estate, around starting a business, feel free to reach out to us directly. Leave a comment below. Ask us questions. We're happy to be a resource for you. We appreciate your time. We love seeing you here. We'll look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Have a great day, everybody.